Hey guys, this is Dr. Boney. This is just a quick video to get you acquainted with the course and show you how it works. The course is organized pretty straightforward. You pretty much go top to bottom, and so we're going to do the same thing. So the first thing you're going to do before we even look at the syllabus is you're going to register for online lectures. You're going to click this and you're going to get this thing called Edpuzzle, and you're going to be like, wait, what do I put in my username? Well, what you do is you go up here to the top and hit sign up. And you can sign in with your Google or sign up for Edpuzzle would be the next thing. You put your first name, last name, username, great, and then you're in the class. You don't have to actually access all of the lectures through Edpuzzle because I have it synced with the Canvas course. So once that's done, if we go back here, second thing you're going to do is go to McGraw-Hill Connect Access. You're going to click this and you're going to go here, and basically if you already have, actually you're not in the class already, you're going to put your email and whatnot and register here. Now by the time you guys get in this, I may have already done this for you, but if I have not, that's how you would register for the first time, and then you can get out of that. And then the next thing is the syllabus itself. And I'm going to kind of talk about this, so I will expand the view on this real quick. Here is the syllabus itself, information for here. My email, very useful, mboney@udel.edu. A description of what it's about. You can read all of this stuff yourself. These are the major learning outcomes of the course, and all of the work that you do is aligned to these major learning outcomes and more specific ones that will be outlined in a little bit. Resources you'll need, obviously Canvas, McGraw-Hill Connect, Edpuzzle, and also Zoom. And so now you see why I did the other two, McGraw-Hill Connect and Edpuzzle, first, so that you understand what these are when we read this. This is an asynchronous course. However, I will make myself available for Zooms on particular times of the week. What you need, the only thing you need, is this particular code that may, I'm sure Dr. B will be getting you hooked up with this. This will give you access to the e-textbook and all that stuff, and all the assignments and stuff for the exams, all of it with one code. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. This is how you're graded. 3 exams are 60%. There's quizzes, interactive simulations, and written papers are 20%, and the final exam's 20 for 100% overall. Here's the UD grading scale we use in our department, and that's all well and good. And here's the part you really care about. So this is the schedule, and this tells you literally everything you need to know. As an asynchronous course, what work do I have to do any given week, and when is it due? So the first week starting on Monday, now of course we're probably going to meet the Thursday before, but starting 3/1 is technically where this begins, so you can go ahead and start earlier if you want, would be Chapter 3. Obviously the book is going to have some degree of a role in this, but we'll talk about the rest of it. In that, there's a couple things. You'll see this weird thing that says testing the test in Connect, and so I'll talk about that in a minute. So what you have required is by 3/8 is to do your Connect Chapter 3 assignment, Virtual Simulation 1, and testing the test in Connect. And you're like, well, where is all that stuff? Well, let's go ahead and take a look at the Canvas course to answer those questions. We see that oops, sorry about that little glitch. So we see here that, there's why. Let me go back to your student view real fast. So we see here that in the Exam 1 folder, there's a lot more than just the chapter PowerPoints. There's a lot more actually. And these are a lot of the Edpuzzle videos that are embedded in here. And I've made almost all of these. Some of these even have me as a character and others don't. Let me just grab, I don't know, randomly this one, whatever. It doesn't matter in Chapter 6. But you can see here we have first thing, exam study guide. So instead of putting a gigantic list of like 200 different learning specific outcomes of every chapter by chapter, I decided to put them for the exam. And so this is more specifics of the learning outcomes of what's on the exam. And so if you want to know exactly what to study, this is it. And these are all the things that fit with the syllabus of the course, and it gives you kind of an outline of what you need to know. And anything that's on here, students always ask the question of, well, how deep do I need to know that? And the answer is as deep as you can. If there's anything that's in the simulations, assignments, quizzes, ed puzzles, or textbook, it's free game. But this is what you want to concentrate on. So now the reason I put that first obviously makes sense, because that's what you need to study. So the next thing I have in line is the PowerPoint for it. They're usually not very long. This is usually about 50 something slides. So there is the actual PowerPoint itself. That's a good way to begin the content learning. And then from there we have all of these ed puzzle videos that fit with a chapter. So if this is chapter 3, these 4 will pertain to chapter 3, and then we move on to chapter 4, and these 2 pertain to chapter 4, and then we move to chapter 6, and these 3 pertain to chapter 6. These ed puzzles do not necessarily comprise all the knowledge you need to know by far, but these are made for pieces of information that are more difficult. For example, if there's declarative knowledge about, parts of a bacteria or a virus, I'm not necessarily going to spend a lot of time on that, but knowing, for example, the difference between the lytic and lysogenic cycles, that's a little bit more difficult. So what do? You click on lytic. So if we go ahead and click on the lytic and lysogenic cycle, you're going to see you have this little video that opens up. You can make it larger, and what makes this different than a normal video, I should say like a YouTube video, is there's a little better screen for you. You can see at the bottom there these little tick marks. And the tick marks are basically little ways for you to be able to be asked assessment questions while you're doing it. So there's a better view of them. I don't know if you can see them or not. But as you go along in this particular video that I am annotating, or I guess you'll be able to, I know you can't hear my voice in the background, but this is me actually talking in the background. You'll see what happens when the actual video gets right to this particular little teardrop right here. It's going to go ahead and just boom, stop. And right in the middle of my lecture to you, it's going to ask you a question. And in this case, I will pick I'll pick the wrong answer. And instantly it's going to give you feedback. Oh, you got it wrong. And you can keep going. So the first time that you actually do this, I'm going to make you watch the video all the way through. And then after you do it subsequent times, you can watch it over and over. But all of these are different ed puzzles for you to kind of help with the learning. So going back to what I said, before, you're like, well, I don't understand, Dr. B. Like, where's all these Connect assignments and stuff you're talking to? Well, since you've now registered for the McGraw-Hill Connect Access, when you click on that, instead of looking like this, it's going to actually look like this. It's going to look something like this. So this is all your work for the first unit, which is everything up to the first exam. So if we, open this up, you're going to see that there are 3 assignments, Chapter 3, Chapter 4, and Chapter 6, and they tell you exactly when they're due. And all you do is you literally do them in here. You just click like this, and tells you how much time, and you can begin. You get 3 attempts to do it. We'll talk about that in a second. And there I go, clicking the first one, and you can, there it is. Good stuff. First question, attempt number, okay, great, bam, go. Oh, look at this. So if you see here, this is not necessarily all questions that would be a B, C, D. So this is just a fundamental review of microscopes. I'm assuming, of course, you've had them before. But before we move forward with different types, that's one of the questions that would be of help to you. So from that point, you also see from your schedule that you have a quiz due in a certain date. These are all the virtual simulations. These are absolutely amazing. Because these things actually allow you to do point of view. So you will actually be physically over the computer, inoculating plates, looking at data, doing exactly what you would do in the lab. And I chose these 3 particular things because these are things that are related to what would be on your test. Obviously, the idea of quantification, isolation, and staining of bacteria is on your first exam, so those are 3 of these simulations. Now, the virtual simulations, you can do these twice, so if you don't like your score the first time, you can do it the second time. All right, I'm all about you using these things for mastery. That's the point of it. And then from that point, we also have the exams. And so this is going to sound a little crazy, but by March 8th, I want you to take what's called testing the test. And if we go ahead and look really quick on your syllabus, you'll see this weird looking thing way down the bottom here, which is like around here somewhere. There we go. You'll see that we have here on 3/8/21. Notice all the exams are in red. You have one that says testing the test. And you're like, what is that thing? So that's this. This is basically called testing the test. And what you're doing is you're going to be testing the proctoring software. And for this testing the test, you can see, by the way, this is actually open right now because it has a little arrow here. This is closed. That's the second exam. But I want you by the 8th to go to testing the test. And when you click on this, it's going to have you begin. And this is kind of how it's going to go for you. Except because I'm already checked out. And of course, literally there's one question. It's going to be, can you see this question? All you're going to put is yes. And then you're going to hit submit. And the reason I'm having you do that is your view is going to look a little different than mine. This computer is going to write back at this view right here. Once you click on this, it's going to have you go through and make sure that your proctoring software is working. In other words, it's going to make sure that your webcam is active, that you have no technological issues. So I want you to use a fake exam that I'm going to give you 5 points for the course for doing it by the 8th. So that we can have you fix any technological issues with a fake exam rather than me getting an email from you on March 22nd saying I can't get into the exam or it's not letting me because my webcam's XYZ or I don't have the right kind of browser. So that's why we do it that way. So hopefully this whole thing makes sense to you. And if we go back to the course, I think I've covered pretty much everything that you'd need to do. So this is everything in order. This is all of the kind of learning content. And then everything that's in the Connect is all of the ways you would assess yourself, or I would assess you, which is the assignments, the quizzes, the simulations, and the exams. So I hope that helped. And again, I am here by email if you need me, and good luck.